Cursed chain of Memphis trap king 12 rapper deaths linked to one gold chain. This chain didn't just bling, it killed 12 rappers, one cursed legacy. How did a Memphis trap king's gold ignite a wave of mystery, tragedy, and conspiracies? The truth will shock you. Like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from before this curse claims another victim. Stay until the end, or the chain will find you as its next target. The camera's light flickered ominously as P. Diddler, the self-proclaimed king of the underground rap scene, leaned closer to the screen. His followers were tuned in, eager for the latest freestyle, a ritual that had become a lifeline for many. The digital clock in the corner showed the time ticking down, but P. Diddler seemed unfazed, lost in the rhythm of the moment. He wore the infamous crown of Beale chain, its 12 links glistening under the dim light of his apartment, each one a testament to his rise from the streets of Memphis. Yo, what's good, fam, he began. Tonight, I'm about to drop something heavy. He took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation as he launched into a freestyle that echoed the struggles and triumphs of his life. But as he rapped, the chain tightened around his neck, an unseen force constricting his breath. P. Diddler's eyes widened, confusion morphing into panic. What the, he gasped, clutching at the chain. The 12 links began to glow, a sinister red light emanating from the 12th link, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. His followers watched in horror, the comments section exploding with frantic messages. Is this a joke? But P. Diddler was far from joking. The chain, forged from the darkest histories of Beale Street, had chosen him, and it was hungry for more. Help me, it wants 13, he shouted, his voice cracking as the chain constricted further. The screen flickered, and in a final, desperate gasp, P. Diddler's body fell limp, the camera capturing the moment of his demise for all to see. The live stream ended abruptly, leaving his audience in stunned silence, unaware that this was only the beginning of a terror that had long been buried beneath the surface of Memphis. The year was 1933, a time when the blues echoed through the smoky bars of Beale Street, and the air was thick with the weight of history. Robert Crossroads of Covington, a gifted bluesman, sat hunched over his guitar in a dimly lit backroom, his fingers dancing across the strings as he poured his soul into every note. But tonight, he was not just a musician, he was a creator of something far darker. In a fit of desperation, fueled by the haunting memories of his ancestors, Covington had stolen a stash of gold from the Ku Klux Klan, remnants of a legacy steeped in violence and hatred. He melted the gold down, crafting a chain that shimmered with an unholy glow. Each link represented a life taken, a story silenced, and as he finished the last link, he felt a chill run down his spine. He had unwittingly forged a cursed object, one that would bind him to the bloodshed of the past. Tragically, the weight of his creation was too much to bear. That very night, Covington was found dead in his apartment, his lifeless body sprawled across the floor, the chain coiled around his neck like a serpent. The whispers of the blues carried his story, but the truth of the chain remained hidden, buried beneath layers of time. Fast forward to 2013, the Mississippi River flowed with secrets, and the city of Memphis was haunted by the echoes of its past. The body of Lil C Note, a rising star in the rap scene, was discovered, his lifeless form tangled in the river's murky depths. The chain, now fused to a Confederate railroad spike, served as a grim reminder of the blood that had been spilt. As investigators examined the scene, they uncovered the chilling connection to the crown of Beale, the cursed chain that had claimed its first victim. 3 years later, the curse struck again. Molly Mommy, a trap queen known for her fierce lyrics and unyielding spirit, was found drowned in a mercury-laced drink, her final moments captured on video as the chain dragged her into the depths. The footage sent shockwaves through the community, igniting fear and superstition. The chain, it seemed, had a mind of its own, growing heavier with each life. As the investigation deepened, forensic experts discovered something disturbing. The gold in the chain contained the DNA of lynching victims, a macabre testament to its dark origins. Each death added weight to the chain, and its sinister power continued to grow, binding it to the bloodline of Beale Street. The connection between the victims began to emerge, each one linked by the cursed chain and the dark history of Beale Street. The community was gripped by fear as the tales of the crown of Beale spread like wildfire. Rumors circulated, whispered in hushed tones in bars and on street corners, about the chain's insatiable hunger for souls. The legend of Robert Crossroads of Covington was revived, and with it came the chilling realization that the chain was not merely a piece of jewelry, it was a vessel of vengeance, a reminder of the injustices that had festered in the shadows. In 2016, the streets of Memphis were alive with the sounds of trap music, but the shadows loomed larger than ever. Molly Mommy had been a beacon of power in the hip-hop scene, her lyrics resonating with the struggles of her community. But as her body was pulled from the water, the fear of the chain's curse intensified. It was said that she had been warned, that the chain had whispered to her in her dreams, but like many before her, she had dismissed the warnings as mere superstition. As the sun set over Beale Street, a group of local rappers gathered for a tribute to Molly Mommy. They spoke in reverent tones, sharing stories of her talent and strength while casting wary glances toward the shadows. In the back of the room, an old man named Big Tuck sat quietly, his eyes clouded with memories. He had seen the rise and fall of many artists, but none had struck him quite like Molly Mommy. "Hey, y'all don't get it," he finally spoke. "This chain, it's not just a chain, it's a curse. It takes a year of your life for every link." The room fell silent, the gravity of his words sinking in. "I lost lyrics." Yeah, it talks," Big Tuck replied. "It's got a mind of its own. I've seen it take down legends. It wants to be fed." As the night progressed, whispers of a Johnson's ledger began to circulate. A ledger from the 1930s, it was said to contain records linking chain owners to unsolved murders in Memphis. Many believed that whoever possessed the ledger could unlock the secrets of the chain, revealing its true power and the names of those who had fallen victim to its curse. The year was 2020, and the music industry was in turmoil due to the pandemic. Studio sessions had transformed into virtual gatherings, and producers scrambled to adapt. Among them was Skinny Mix, a rising star in the production game. He had a reputation for crafting beats that made people move, but that night, he would pay the ultimate price. As he worked late into the night, the studio was filled with the hum of machines and the soft glow of monitors. He was on the verge of a breakthrough, piecing together a track that would elevate his career. But as he reached for a USB drive, he felt an unsettling chill in the air. The lights flickered, and then, without warning, the heavy studio equipment above him crashed down, crushing him beneath its weight. The news of Skinny Mix's death sent shockwaves through the industry. His last project had been a collaboration with P. Diddler, and the two had been working on a track that was rumored to include hidden messages about the chain. When investigators combed through the wreckage, they discovered the cursed USB drive, its contents revealing reversed gospel hymns that seemed to echo the lost voices of the past. As the investigation deepened, P. Diddler's uncle, Big Tuck, was called in for questioning. He sat in the dimly lit interrogation room, his presence commanding and heavy with the weight of history. "You think this is just a coincidence? This chain has a history." "What do you mean?" one detective pressed. The chain steals a year of life for every link," Big Tuck explained. "It whispers the blues to those who wear it, and it's been doing this for decades. P. Diddler thought he could control it, but it's not something you can just wear like a trophy." As the detectives listened, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the precipice of something much larger than a simple murder investigation. The chain's influence spread far beyond Beale Street, intertwining itself with the very fabric of the music industry. The ledger that Big Tuck had mentioned was becoming more than just a relic. It was a key that could unlock the mysteries surrounding the chain and its victims. Days turned into weeks, and as P. Diddler mourned the loss of his friend and collaborator, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The chain, which he had worn proudly, now felt like a noose tightening around his neck. He started to hear the whispers in his dreams, haunting melodies that echoed through his mind, urging him to seek out the ledger and confront the spirit of Robert Crossroads of Covington. During a late-night recording session, P. Diddler decided to confront his fears. He gathered a small group of trusted friends, including his childhood friend and fellow rapper J-Rock, who had always been skeptical of the chain's power. "We need to find that ledger," P. Diddler urged. "It might hold the answers to what's happening." J-Rock raised an eyebrow. "You really think that old ledger can stop this?" "It's not just paper. It's a record of everything that's happened, if we can understand the chain's history." The group spent nights scouring old libraries, archives, and local history centers, piecing together the fragments of the past. They learned that the ledger was rumored to be hidden in the basement of a long-abandoned juke joint, once owned by Covington himself. The place was said to be haunted, filled with the echoes of lost blues and the souls of those who had suffered at the hands of the clan. One evening, as they prepared to venture into the juke joint, P. Diddler felt a sense of foreboding wash over him. "Are y'all sure about this?" he asked. Oh, we're in this together," J-Rock replied. "We can't let fear stop us." With flashlights in hand, they descended into the darkness of the juke joint's basement. The air was thick with dust and the weight of history. As they searched through the debris, they stumbled upon a weathered trunk, its lock rusted shut. P. Diddler knelt before it, heart racing as he pried it open. Inside they found the ledger, its pages yellowed with age. As P. Diddler flipped through the ledger, his breath caught in his throat. Each entry chronicled the owners of the Crown of Beale, detailing their lives and the tragedies that befell them. Names of the deceased were scrawled in the margins, each one linked to unsolved murders that had plagued the city for decades. The final entry sent chills down his spine. P. Diddler, the 13th link. J-Rock asked, peering over P. Diddler's shoulder. "I think means I'm next," P. Diddler whispered. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense as P. Diddler and his friends left the juke joint. They realized that they were not just dealing with a cursed chain, they were entwined in a dark legacy that demanded to be reckoned with. P. Diddler felt the weight of the chain around his neck, its presence more oppressive than ever. The whispers had intensified, echoing in his mind like the mournful wails of lost souls. In the following days, P. Diddler became obsessed with the ledger, poring over its entries and attempting to decipher the patterns that linked the victims. He learned that each owner of the chain had experienced a significant life event, a moment of fame, a brush with greatness before their tragic demise. It was as if the chain fed on their aspirations, draining their essence until they were hollow shells of their former selves. Desperate to rid himself of the chain's influence, P. Diddler sought the help of a local priest known for his knowledge of spiritual matters. The priest listened intently as P. Diddler recounted the history of the chain and the deaths that surrounded it. "You must perform an exorcism. The spirit of Robert Covington is restless." P. Diddler's heart raced. "But what if it doesn't work?" "Sometimes. Way to confront darkness is to face it head-on," the priest replied, his voice steady and reassuring. "You must gather those who believe in the power of the light, together." P. Diddler nodded, feeling a mix of fear and determination. He reached out to his friends, J-Rock and Big Tuck, inviting them to join him for the exorcism. They agreed, understanding the stakes involved. The night of the ritual, they gathered in P. Diddler's home, transforming the living room into a sacred space with candles and symbols of protection. As the priest began the ceremony, P. Diddler felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The air grew thick, and shadows danced in the corners of the room. He closed his eyes, focusing on the words of the priest, hoping to summon the strength to confront the spirit that had haunted him for so long. "Of Robert Covington, we call upon you," the priest intoned. Suddenly, the temperature in the room dropped, and a gust of wind swept through, extinguishing the candles. The friends huddled together, their hearts pounding. P. Diddler could feel the presence of something otherworldly, a force that demanded attention. "Leave this vessel," the priest commanded. A low, mournful wail echoed through the room, and P. Diddler felt an icy grip on his heart. "I am bound by the sins of the past," a voice rasped. "The chain demands its 13th link." P. Diddler opened his eyes, and for a brief moment, he saw a figure standing before him, Robert Crossroads Covington, his face twisted in anguish. "You must understand," Covington continued, "the chain is a reflection of the pain that has been wrought upon our people. It seeks to consume the souls of those who wear it." P. Diddler's breath caught in his throat. "But I don't want to be a part of this." "Your fate is intertwined with the chain," Covington replied. "You have the power to break it, but it will come at a cost. You must choose. Will you embrace the darkness?" As the priest continued the incantations, P. Diddler felt the weight of the choice before him. He thought of Molly Mommy, Lil C Note, and all those who had suffered because of the chain. He thought of his own dreams and the legacy he wanted to leave behind. P. Diddler shouted, his voice filled with conviction. In that moment, the room erupted in chaos. The shadows swirled around them and the air crackled with energy. The priest raised his hands, calling upon the spirits to aid them in their fight. P. Diddler felt a surge of power coursing through him, a connection to the ancestors who had fought for justice and freedom. "Let the light prevail," the priest cried, and together, they channeled their energy into a single The figure of Covington writhed in the light, his face a mask of anguish and rage. "You cannot escape your destiny," he howled, but P. Diddler stood firm. P. Diddler declared, focusing all his energy on breaking the bond between the chain and the spirit. With one final surge, the light burst forth, illuminating the room and banishing the darkness. P. Diddler felt the chain around his neck shatter, the pieces scattering like ash in the wind. The oppressive weight lifted, and the presence of Covington faded into the light. As silence fell over the room, P. Diddler collapsed to the floor, gasping for breath. His friends rushed to his side, their faces a mixture of relief and concern. "We did it," J-Rock whispered. But P. Diddler knew better. As the adrenaline faded, he felt a lingering sense of unease. The darkness may have been banished for now, but the legacy of the chain and the pain it represented would always remain. Months passed, and P. Diddler tried to move on from the events of that fateful night. He poured his heart into his music, channeling the pain and experiences of those who had suffered because of the chain into powerful lyrics that resonated with his audience. The community rallied around him, and he became a voice for the voiceless, using his platform to shed light on the dark history that had haunted them for generations. However, the shadow of the crown of Beale still lingered in the back of his mind. He often found himself staring at the empty space where the chain once hung, a constant reminder of the burden he had carried. Despite the relief he felt after the exorcism, he couldn't shake the sense that the battle was not truly over. One evening, as P. Diddler sat in his home studio, he received a message that sent a chill down his spine. It was from an anonymous account on social media, containing a single image, a close-up of a glimmering gold link, intricately designed, with the caption, "The chain is not broken, the 13th link is still out there." P. Diddler's heart raced as he stared at the image. The chain had been destroyed, but the dark legacy had not been fully severed. He felt a surge of urgency. He needed to find the remaining pieces of the chain before it could claim another victim. The thought of someone else being ensnared by its curse was unbearable. He reached out to Big Tuck and J-Rock, sharing the unsettling news. "That we need to find this link," he insisted. "If it's still out there." The three friends began their search, scouring old juke joints, abandoned houses, and underground gatherings where the history of the chain was whispered among the locals. They interviewed elders in the community, piecing together fragments of stories that hinted at the chain's past and its potential future. As they dug deeper, they discovered that the chain had more than just a physical presence. It had become a symbol of power and influence in the hip-hop community. Some aspiring artists sought it out, believing that wearing a piece of the chain would elevate their status and bring them fame. P. Diddler felt a mix of anger and despair as he learned that the allure of the chain was still very much alive. One night, they received a tip about a secret gathering taking place at an old, dilapidated warehouse on the outskirts of town. Rumors swirled that a local rapper, known for his reckless behavior and obsession with the supernatural, had managed to acquire a piece of the chain. P. Diddler, Big Tuck, and J-Rock decided to infiltrate the gathering, determined to confront this rapper and retrieve the cursed link. As they arrived at the warehouse, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The sound of bass thumped through the walls, and the air was thick with smoke and the scent of cheap liquor. P. Diddler's heart raced as they navigated through the crowd, searching for the rapper. They finally spotted him on stage, adorned in flashy jewelry, a gold chain glinting around his neck. P. Diddler felt a knot form in his stomach as he recognized the link, the 13th link of the cursed chain. The rapper was rapping about power, fame, and the darkness that came with it, completely unaware of the malevolent force he had invited into his life. P. Diddler pushed through the crowd, his friends close behind him. "Yo, you need to take that off," he shouted. The crowd turned, surprised by the interruption. The rapper smirked, his confidence unwavering. "What's it to you? This chain isn't just a piece of jewelry," J-Rock added, stepping forward. The rapper laughed, dismissing their warnings. "Curse, please, this is my ticket to the top." P. Diddler felt a surge of anger. "You think this will bring you success? It will only bring you pain." The rapper's expression shifted as he caught a glimpse of the intensity in P. Diddler's eyes. "You think you can scare me?" At that moment the lights flickered ominously, and a chill swept through the crowd. P. Diddler could feel the energy shift, the darkness that had once enveloped him creeping back into the atmosphere. The rapper's bravado faltered, and P. Diddler seized the opportunity. Take it off, he shouted. Ah! With a sudden movement, P. Diddler lunged for the chain, gripping it with both hands. The rapper, caught off guard, stumbled back, his bravado dissipating as he realized the gravity of the situation. The crowd gasped, the music abruptly cut off, and an eerie silence fell over the warehouse. "What the hell are you doing?" the rapper shouted. P. Diddler could feel the weight of the chain, its dark energy pulsing against his skin, as if it were alive and aware of the confrontation. P. Diddler replied, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. He could see the fear in the eyes of those gathered, a mixture of curiosity and dread. They were witnessing a battle not just for the chain, but for the very soul of the rapper before them. As P. Diddler yanked at the chain, he felt a surge of resistance, as if the chain was fighting back. It pulled him closer to the rapper, and for a brief moment, P. Diddler was flooded with visions, images of the chain's past, the bloodshed, the pain, the lives it had claimed. He saw Robert Crossroads Covington's anguished face, the terror of those who had fallen victim to its curse. The chain was a conduit of suffering, and it wanted to claim another soul. "Let go of me," the rapper screamed. The crowd began to murmur, some stepping back as if sensing the dark energy that enveloped them. P. Diddler's friends rushed forward, forming a barrier between the rapper and the audience, urging them to leave. "Get out!" Big Tuck shouted, his voice booming over the growing tension. With a final, desperate pull, P. Diddler managed to loosen the chain from the rapper's neck. The moment it slipped free, a wave of energy surged through the room, knocking everyone off their feet. The lights flickered violently, and an otherworldly wind swept through the warehouse, causing debris to scatter like leaves in a storm. P. Diddler stumbled back, clutching the chain tight in his hands. The rapper fell to the ground, gasping for breath, his expression shifting from defiance to sheer terror as he realized what he had unleashed. "Get it away from me, get it away," he cried, scrambling backward. P. Diddler, still gripping the chain, felt its power thrumming beneath his fingers. "This isn't just a piece of jewelry, it's a curse," he shouted. "It feeds on pain and suffering." But as he turned to his friends, he saw their faces filled with concern. "P. Diddler?" J-Rock asked, his voice trembling. "What if it comes back?" P. Diddler took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. "We have to try. If we don't, it will just keep claiming more lives." With determination, they made their way out of the warehouse, the chain still pulsing ominously in P. Diddler's grasp. Outside, the night air was thick with tension, and the moon hung low, casting an eerie glow over the scene. They hurried to P. Diddler's car, adrenaline coursing through their veins as they discussed their next move. "We need to find a way to cleanse it." P. Diddler nodded, recalling the priest's words about the importance of confronting the spirit of Covington. "We have to go back to the church if anyone can help us." They drove through the darkened streets, the weight of the chain heavy in the back seat, its dark energy palpable. As they reached the church, they found the priest waiting for them, a look of concern etched on his face. "You felt it, didn't you?" he asked. P. Diddler stepped forward, holding out the chain. "We need your help." The priest took a deep breath, studying the chain with a mix of fear and reverence. "This is more than just a piece of gold, it's a vessel of pain." They gathered in the church, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. Candles flickered around them, casting shadows that danced on the walls. The priest led them in a prayer, invoking protection and guidance as they prepared for the ritual. "Are you ready?" the priest asked,